Hello, everyone. My name is Finn Gao. I'm presenting my final project for Harvard CSCI E88 Principles of Big Data Processing class. In this project, I'll demonstrate the building of a big data system that collects relevant real-time Twitter stream and ingests the data into a pipeline with processing, analytics, and persistent capabilities. I'll use my company's IP products as the keywords and use the keywords to get the relevant Twitter feeds and finally index them into Elasticsearch and visualize the result in Kibana. For example, here's if I type in the keywords of a company's IP product, get the relevant Twitter feed, and then I'll build a pipeline to automatically inject the feed into our persistent layer. Here's an overview of the pipeline. From the Twitter feed, I'll use Flume to ingest the data and send the data to Kafka layer and then for data processing, and then I'll use Logstash to get the data and send the data to Elasticsearch, and then from Elasticsearch, I'll use Kibana to visualize the result of the data in Elasticsearch. So in this pipeline, I have collection tier, which will use Flume to ingest data from the filtered Twitter stream, and then the messaging tier, which is using Kafka as a message broker for any incoming new events. And then I'll use Logstash in the processing layer to send the data into the persistence layer, which is Elasticsearch in our case. And then the final visualization tier is using Kibana to present index data and discover which games or IPs are popular in a certain region or time frame. So the implementation details, I'll use several Docker images to provide services for different layers. I'll host the Docker images on a AWS EC2 instance. And in that instance, I'll have one ELK container, one Zookeeper container, and 3 Kafka container. And here's the source code of the Docker Compose script. In this, you can find out I have Zookeeper container and a Kafka cluster and a ELK container, as well as a container who's running the Flume service. And in the Flume ingestion layer, I have configured the source. The source is using Twitter feed, and then the sink is using Kafka service. And then I'll use those keywords. Those are the IP product of my company, and use those as a keywords to filter the Twitter feed. The relevant Twitter feed will be my data source. And then I have all my credentials here embedded into the configuration file. And in the Logstash service script, you can see that the input of Logstash is from Kafka, and for the specific topic. And I'll use processing logic to get the required data field, and then output those into Elasticsearch with an index. So the startup steps for this pipeline, I'll start with an EC2 instance based on the public E88 AMI I'll log into that instance and copy all the configuration files. Make sure Flume is available and start the containers using Docker Compose. To pull the images, start 5 containers. I'll create the topic in Kafka service container. I'll start a Flume service to ingest data from Twitter, from the Twitter data source. And then I'll also start a console consumer, Kafka console consumer, to monitor the data flow, make sure the data is flowing in. And in the ELK container, I'll make sure all the 3 services are available, and then restart logstash service with the updated configuration code. Finally, I'll use Kibana to discover and visualize results from Elasticsearch. And here you can find out I have all the containers started here using Docker Compose, and then I used Flume to ingest the data in. So here's the data from Twitter stream, and then here's a Kafka's console consumer to monitor to make sure that data is ingested into Kafka, and then I started logstash here to send the data from Kafka to Elasticsearch. And finally, we can see that data is in. We use Kibana to find out if the data is in the Elasticsearch. We run a simple query to see that all the data are ingested into Elasticsearch, and then you can use Kibana to run a query on a specific keyword I defined. You can see that within this time period, I have those data with time, text, and ID as required. So that's all for my project. Thank you very much.